All right, let's get right into it. We are looking at one of the biggest structural shifts of our generation, the GLP-1 revolution. And let's be clear, this isn't some flash-in-the-pan trend. What we're witnessing is a complete paradigm shift that's set to redefine medicine, consumer habits, and where global capital flows for decades to come.
Just look at that number, $110 billion. And you want to know the crazy part? That's just the market's starting line for today. This massive figure, it's literally just the tip of the iceberg. We've barely even begun to scratch the surface of what's coming. And this quote right here, it just nails the whole thing. GLP-1s aren't just another pill for another problem. They're a true platform technology. This is so fundamental. We're shifting away from just patching up symptoms to actually reprogramming the body's entire metabolic system from the ground up. Yeah, they started with diabetes, but now they're already protecting hearts and kidneys. It's a whole new way of thinking about medicine.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack what this metabolism revolution really is. Then, we'll survey the GLP-1 battlefield to see who the key players are. After that, we'll dig into the picks and shovels, the hidden engine behind it all. Of course, we have to talk about the hidden risks. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a very specific investment strategy.
Okay, first up, the metabolism revolution. This is where the story really takes off. Because we're not just talking about a single drug for one condition anymore. No, we're talking about a foundational technology whose applications are expanding faster than almost anyone predicted.
So, what's pouring fuel on this fire? Well, it's three main things. First, these drugs are getting approved for more and more conditions. Second, they're becoming available to more people around the world. And third, and men, this one is the real game changer. Oral pills are coming. Think about it. The fear of needles disappears, and the floodgates open for millions of new users. And all that incredible growth leads us right here, to the GLP-1 battlefield. Because when a market this huge opens up this fast, it doesn't just create opportunity, it starts a war. And we're not just talking about a fight for sales. This is a full-blown strategic battle for control of human metabolism itself. Right now, at the top of the food chain, you've got this duopoly. On one side, there's Eli Lilly, the company that, for now, seems to have the slight edge on clinical effectiveness. And on the other side, you've got Novo Nordisk, just an absolute beast of a company with massive scale and a distribution network that's second to none. These are the two titans setting the pace for everyone else. But let's be real, these two aren't going to have the battlefield all to themselves for long. There's a whole new wave of competitors massing on the horizon. And they're not just coming to fight on price, they're coming to completely change the rules of the game and redefine what best even means.
You've got big players like Amgen working on drugs that might only need to be taken once a month, which would be huge. But then you have nimble biotechs like Viking Therapeutics, and this is where it gets really interesting. Their drug candidate, VK2735, is showing an incredible profile, both in terms of how well it works and how safe it is. They are shaping up to be a serious threat to the old guard.
You know, in any gold rush, everybody gets fixated on the people digging for gold. But the really smart money? It's often looking somewhere else entirely. And that brings us to Section 3, the picks and shovels, the essential hidden infrastructure that makes this whole revolution possible.
This idea is everything. The most durable, long-term value is often found in the companies providing the essential tools and services. Without them, the gold miners, our drug makers, simply can't operate. This is where we find the most critical and often overlooked part of the entire value chain.
Companies like West Pharmaceutical and Stevanato Group are the backbone here. They make the high-tech injection pens and the special glass vials that these drugs require. Right now, the single biggest problem for Lilly and Novo is they can't make their drugs fast enough. And who holds the keys to solving that supply bottleneck? These guys. Without them, the whole industry just grinds to a halt.
But wait, there's another layer to this whole ecosystem that's starting to emerge. See, the future isn't just about giving people a drug. It's about measuring, optimizing, and even monetizing the data from their entire metabolic journey. And that's where the medtech world comes roaring in. And I mean, just look at the growth projected for things like continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs. We're talking about a compound annual growth rate of around 16%. It's huge. Companies like Abbott and Dexcom are pushing this hard, trying to get these devices not just on diabetics, but on everyday healthy people who just want to optimize their bodies. It's a fascinating trend for sure.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the massive upside, but any serious analysis has to be balanced. You have to look at the other side of the coin. So now it's time to get real about the hidden risks. There are three big ones you have to keep your eye on. First, adherence. A surprisingly high number of patients just stop taking the drug after a year. Second, price pressure. Governments are waking up to the cost and are starting to push back hard. And third, generic competition is no longer a distant threat, it's right around the corner. The takeaway here is crucial. This market might be huge, but it's also a minefield. Only companies with absolutely perfect execution are going to win.
So, you've got the incredible opportunity, the players on the battlefield, the hidden infrastructure, and the very real risks. How in the world do you put all that together into a smart investment strategy? Let's build a portfolio that's actually designed for this transformation.
Now, a lot of people will show you a chart like this. A diversified core satellite approach. Buy a little Lilly, a little Novo, some infrastructure, some medtech. And you know what? We think that's the wrong way to play this. The winning strategy is not to just buy the good companies, it's to buy the right companies at the right technical price. So we're throwing out the broad approach. Our thesis boils down to just two names. First, Viking Therapeutics, the ultimate emerging challenger with what could be a best-in-class drug. And second, Stevanato Group, the absolute critical picks and shovels player that the entire industry depends on. That's the focus.
And this is not a set-it-and-forget-it deal. It's an active strategy. In 2027, all eyes are going to be on the clinical data from challengers like Viking. That will be a make-or-break moment. As for Stevanato, we'll be watching their production capacity and their new contracts like a hawk. The big risks we talked about, like generics and price pressure, for these two specific companies, those risks actually become opportunities to stand out and massively outperform the crowded field.
Look, the smartest capital in the world has already been making its moves. The only real question left is this: is everyone else prepared to think this strategically? Thanks for diving in with us.